Hello and welcome to Chapter 2 of the Solar Model CF Capacitor Examiner. And got a little time tonight. Figured I'd come down here and see what I can accomplish. I've been studying the schematic in my spare time when I'm in the library, and this is where I do my best thinking. I go in there and sit and think, and I've just been studying this and studying this and studying this and thinking about the problem with the megohm section of this, or the megger section of this, what they call the insulation test or leakage test for dry capacitors, microcapacitors, so on and so forth. And you can probably remember I had suspected it could be the switch leaking. We could have some high value resistors out of tolerance. There were several possibilities, but the more I studied the schematic, the more I became convinced that even if these high tolerance resistors and their high voltage, low leakage resistors were out of tolerance, and some of them actually are. A couple of these are actually out by almost 50%. I wouldn't be seeing the symptoms I'm seeing, i.e., I can't get the voltage setting high enough to read full scale, and it's the same on all of the range settings. M times 100, M times 10, M times 1. There should be some variation if it was the range resistors that were giving me the trouble. And I began to suspect it was something that was common to all three range settings, or common for the whole meter function in general. And sitting and studying the schematic, it became pretty evident what I think the problem is. Now, the switch is shown in the M times 100, or the insulation test megohms times 100 range, which made it convenient to track everything around. And looking at it, we've got our megohm range reference resistors here and here, and these are ones on the current. Easy for me to say. I can tell I'm tired. This is the set that supplies the voltage and the voltage drop for the actual test out here on the probes. These supply the ranging for the vacuum tube for the 6J5 VTVM circuit. But again, if this was the problem, I should be seeing varying readings, and when you went through the three range settings, there was hardly any change at all. But we look at this, and we have the power supply, we have the voltage regulation circuit. We know this is working because we're getting almost 700 volts out of here. We'll track down the negative voltage here. It comes out, goes through the range switch, comes out the negative lead. The positive side comes up through the tube, through the cathode, and lo and behold, look at this resistor right here, this variable resistor. This is only used on the megohm meter on these three ranges, the M times 100, M times 10, and M times 1. That's the only time this variable resistor comes into play, and guess what? It's the cathode bias for the VTVM. I'll bet dollars to donuts this is just a calibration issue. This resistor has drifted over time, or other resistors have drifted over time, and it needs a recalibration for the megohm function. Nothing on this side of the range switches for anything has anything to do with that circuit. It's all in the meter, the tube, the cathode return, and these ranging resistors right here. And again, we know it can't be the ranging resistors. And speaking of the switch, I had said at the time I had found a switch that I was going to order, and it came in And it's actually a pretty good looking switch. The problem is it's not the switch I ordered. This was from AliExpress. And I was leery about ordering directly from a Chinese outfit. It's actually not a bad looking switch. The problem is I ordered the switch with 11 positions. They sent me one with 7 positions. I tried to log back into my AliExpress account tonight so that I could lodge a complaint or get a return or what have you. And guess what? They want more personal information. They want my phone number, my mobile phone number. To me, it's a phishing scam. They're not getting any more personal information. If I have to confirm my account with them, they can do it via email. They have my email address. Everyone else in the world will send you a confirmation via your email address. No, they want personal information. Fuck you, AliExpress. You screwed me. You got my $9. I learned my lesson. You're not getting any more personal information from me so you can get into my accounts. Screw you. So, okay, enough said on that. It's a shame because it's a nice looking switch. So whoever supplied the switch, kudos to you. But I can't believe they both sent. Oh, and it said my account showed suspicious activity. I've used this account one time. I can't believe in the one time I've used it there's been suspicious activity and they need to verify more information on me. Up yours. So anyway, back to this thing. I tested the actual wafer switch that's in here. I had an epiphany the other night, and I said, gee, I've got the Heathkit condenser checker, and I've got my super duper ultra sensitive little leakage tester that I built. Let's try connecting to some of these unused terminals on the switch. Not on this one, but on these. We have some open terminals on the switch that don't get used. So I tried going terminal to terminal, or terminal to this side where it'd be connected here, but I'm connecting to an open part over here. I could get an occasional blink out of the LED or out of the neon lamp, but nothing that indicated to me there was enough leakage to be concerned about. And that's when I began studying the schematic again. And boy, can you tell I'm tired? Can you tell I'm meandering tonight? I've convinced myself by sitting here and studying this thing that a tweak of this pot is going to fix the megger. So let's try it out. I am going to set the schematic aside. And by the way, I've recapped this. It's going to look a little sky-wired, and it is a little sky-wired because I was kind of expecting to change the range switch, so I left the leads real long. Plus, that gives me a lot more room to work in here to change out some of these high-voltage resistors. Oh, high-voltage resistors. Let me tell you, I went looking for replacements for these. These are low-leakage, high-voltage resistors. What it would cost me to replace about 9 of these is more than I paid for the meter and shipping. And I paid too much. I swallowed my tongue when I saw what they were getting for these resistors. To be honest, there's only about 700 volts in here. And I don't think I need these. These are rated for a couple of thousand volts without leakage. What I'm going to do is take a couple of metal film resistors. For example, if I have a 1 meg ohm resistor, I'm going to take two 500K resistors and put them in series. That should give me more than enough safety margin for insulation breakdown. Again, we're running 700 volts. Those resistors have to be good for, somewhere between 5 and 1,000 volts. 500 to 1,000 volts. So 2 of them, I'm figuring I'm going to be plenty safe at the 700 volt level that we're running here. I'd go 3 if I wanted to, but that's going to get messy. If I've got a 2 meg resistor, I'll put 2 1 megs in series. If I've got a 10 meg resistor, I'll put probably 2 5 megs, or say 2 4s and a 2 or something. I'll just total everything up. and I'll just put them in series so that I've got the insulation resistance, or the low leakage path, and I can use some good high precision metal film resistors to replace these, because these are, some of these, like I say, are 50% out of tolerance. At any rate, that cathode resistor that we saw on the schematic is this little wire wound pot right here. And so I'm going to make a mark on the back side where the wiper is right now. There, we've got a little pencil mark right there where the wiper is, so that if I'm wrong, we can return this back to where it is. But I am virtually positive this is what I'm going to find the problem is. So let's swing this around. Can we see the front? Get the meter in here, and we'll move this up, get the light so the meter's a little clearer. There, that's better lighting. And I've got it tied to a block or a plate on the side here because it won't stand up on its own. So I took a couple little C-clamps and put an angled plate. What the heck did the plug go? Ah, there it is. I got to keep reminding myself that this is almost like playing with a transmitter that's got, you know, high voltage on the finals. This is 700 volts in here, and this could light me up pretty good if I got across it. So I've got to be careful. And come on, where's the plug? Okay, we're plugged in. Dial lights are on, and I'm going to crank the voltage all the way up. I'm going to put this on M times 1. And as this warms up, we should see an upscale reading here. And I'm going to need an insulated diddle stick. Okay, we've got our insulated diddle stick so that we don't get fried in case the potentiometer shaft is hot. Okay, the way this should work, when I'm in the M times 1, I'll try to get everything in frame here. There we go. When we've got M times 1 or M times 10 or M times 100, you can see there's a little bit of wiggle right there between these two ranges, but between 1 and 10 there's virtually none. I mean, it just doesn't move. Then you would set your voltage so that you had a full scale reading. That's infinity. In other words, no leakage, nothing drawing current through the resistors, no voltage drop, so the meter remains at full scale. The vacuum tube voltmeter remains at full scale. So here we go. I'm going to tweak this cathode resistor and see what we get. And look at that. I'm going to go just a little bit past the end of the scale so we've got some wiggle room. We can go right up past the end of the scale, past infinity now, so I'm going to bring this back to 0, or infinity, excuse me. And we'll go through the other ranges. No change, and on the M times 100 megohms it goes a little bit high. The idea is you set it back to infinity again. Now, I'm going to try to do this without getting bit. We're going to plug in a couple of test leads here and see what we have. And just laying my hands, right now we're on the 10 gigohm scale. I'm just going to put my hand on top of the test leads, and you can see it's showing leakage through the rubber insulation of the test leads. If I pick these up and just hold them, if I hold just one, there's a little bit of that's the hot side, and that's probably noise on the VTVM, you know, but obviously we're seeing leakage here. This is just noise pickup because I'm holding one lead. That's leakage. We're seeing right through the rubber insulation, we're seeing leakage. Let's take one of these capacitors that came out of here that's bad. Oh, incidentally, every single capacitor in this was bad. Every last one of them. And these capacitors that I suspected might be molded paper, according to the Solar parts list, these are mica. These are silver mica, and they are very leaky. So in fact, I'm going to take this silver mica right here, and you can see it's showing up practically a dead short. That's M times 10 right now. So this would be 10 mega ohms. 10, oh, excuse me, this would be times 10. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 80 meg. Let's go mega ohms times 1, and it's about 100 mega ohms. So that's leaking like it's a 100 mega ohm resistor. Not good. Let's try one of the paper caps that came out of here and see what it tells me. Okay, that's virtually a dead short. That might be the one that was shorted, as a matter of fact. Let's try another one and see what it reads. There we go. And as it's charging, you can see it's going up. That would be 4 mega ohms. So it's like putting a 4 meg resistor into your circuit instead of a capacitor. And the leakage is going to go down a little bit as the cap charges, but let's put an orange drop cap in here. Now this is a fairly high capacity. This is a 2 microfarad, so I'm expecting this thing to slam the stop. But as it charges, you can see how fast that cap is charging up and the leakage is going away. That's a good capacitor. That's an orange drop. Let's go to the next higher range. It's still climbing. Of course, the current is smaller. Go back to the M times 1. We'll let it charge up until it goes up to infinity. It'll charge quicker because we're passing more current through the meter on the M times 1 scale. And basically, we're almost to infinity. This is M times 10. We're still almost at infinity. That's M times 100. So there is like virtually no leakage in that capacitor. It is just virtually perfect. And we probably have some noise pickup here, but that is actually, it's probably going to keep climbing if I let it sit there. But that's on that's past 10 gig ohms. So that's a good cap. And by the way, when they come off of this thing, look out. That's a, you know, don't grab the capacitors. Thank you very much. Okay, what have we got left to do? We've got cosmetic work left to do. I should probably unplug this before I do this any further. So I'm gonna call this meter, or this tester, good. It needs the resistors replaced. We'll do that over the next couple of days or a week or so. The only thing I haven't changed in here yet is this capacitor right here. This is one of the bridge caps. This is a 4 microfarad at 100 volts, non-polarized. Pull the schematic back up here real quick. And do we have it? Yeah, we do. These are the bridge caps. This is a 4 microfarad. I forget the value of C3, but I had one that was within, I think it was, oh, that's a 0.04. How did I think about it? This is a 4 microfarad. This is a 0.04 microfarad. I had one that was within 1% in a Sprague orange drop. And on the lowest, or more, the smallest capacitor range, they have a little trimmer cap in here that they're using as the reference cap, so you can actually connect a known capacitor on the input terminals to the bridge and calibrate the lowest range on the bridge, so your capacitance readings will be correct. Whew. Time to go to bed. At any rate, this is the bridge pot over here. This one, this 4 microfarad, I searched for a while and couldn't find anything suitable online to replace this capacitor with. So what I'm going to do is I've got a bag of 1 microfarad non-polarized capacitors here. I have several of these 1 microfarad TRW caps that are good quality. What else do I have? I've got some 2 microfarad orange drops. So between all of these, I should be able to come up with a combination, either 4 of these, or 1 of these, and 3 of these, or this, and 2 of these, or whatever. I'll come up with a combination that's within 1 or 2%. This capacitor over here is rated at 2%, as were the other 2 bridge capacitors. They were rated at 2%. Actually, one of them's an adjustable cap, and it's right there. And this is unplugged now, so I can stick my finger in here. This is the smallest range setting right down here, the 2nd range setting, and the 3rd range setting on the capacitor bridge for measuring capacitance. What I have not done yet is build the test leads to try the dynamic testing. I'm sure that's going to work. I haven't checked the oscillator yet, but when I switch it to that position, I can see the voltage drop slightly, which tells me that's going in the oscillation, so I'm sure that's going to be fine. And when we get that cable built, we'll do another video and show you how that works. In the meantime, I'm going to pull the front panel off of this, get the rest of the paint off of this bezel, strip the cabinet, and try to get this thing painted so that it looks decent. And the radio mechanic's tired. He's going to bed. He's going to go upstairs, take a shower, and he's got a lot of work to do this weekend, so I probably won't get to this weekend. But I was thinking about this the other night, and I was positive that I had figured out the problem just by studying the schematic, and sure enough, adjusting that cathode bias pot has fixed the megohm feature. And all I'm really interested in with this thing is the megohm feature and the electrolytic leakage fixture. As far as using it for a bridge, that'll probably never happen. I've got other stuff to measure them with, and mainly would just be interested in the mega feature, honestly. I'm curious about the dynamic testing, where you can supposedly test them in circuit for short, open, or intermittent while the radio is actually turned on. It'd be fun to try that, but I don't know if I'll ever find it or actually use it. And my voice is getting gravelly as well. Okay, that's it. We're going to wrap this up. We're going to go to bed. Thanks for stopping by, and next installment, this should be painted. We should have the resistors changed, and I should have the lead built for this dynamic test circuit. I'm the radio mechanic. Hope somebody found this useful, or at least slightly interesting. Talk to you soon. Oh, subscribe. Talk to you. Bye.